Pedro from A&P-REACTS. I'm here today with Dave Barrett from Voices of Ruin. How's it going?
It's going good, brother. Just hanging out. It's a cloudy day. It's actually a little windy. Looks like it's gonna rain or something, which is weird for Southern California. But it's good, man. How you doing?
Uh, yeah, I thought you guys got sun all year round. It never rains there.
No, never. I don't know. It's a weird day.
So, how's everything going with you in terms of the whole coronavirus, all this quarantining? Is everything fine there? Is things starting to reopen again?
Yeah, I mean, luckily we're all safe, man. Things are reopening. Restaurants are opening. But yeah, it's definitely weird. No, I mean, my day job, I work in a restaurant, so we're dealing with that crap has been difficult. But number one is that everyone's safe and family's safe. So.
Did you guys ever considering postponing the release of the record, considering everything that's happening, or that was never on your mind?
We back and forth with the label for actually regarding that. So we actually did delay the release by about 3 weeks. We had originally had it set for April 24th, but we talked with the label. We pushed it to May 15th, and we had more talks to push it even further towards either middle of summer, end of summer, even fall, just kind of depending when things open up, so we can make sure the vinyl and the CDs, the physical, gets into shops. But we decided, you know what, we've been sitting on it since last July of 2019 when we recorded it, got the mix and masters. So we decided it was time, just let's get it out there. People have time to listen to it, which is an advantage for the digital streaming and all that. So we said, you know what, let's get the music out there and see what happens. Go from there. It's uncertain
Yeah,
times. I mean, nobody knows what to do.
yeah, it's true, it's true, and a lot of people are talking about the postponement of releases because they're thinking more about the tour side of things. But there's also the other side, which is the pressing of the vinyls and all of that stuff that has to go into consideration as well.
Yeah, and distribution. I mean, shipping's been a nightmare. I mean, everything's just been difficult. So we weren't sure when things are going to change, and I guess if things were going to change. So we decided, let's get the record out there and hopefully we get some fans from it. And then when things start to open up, we can get that touring cycle going.
How would you define the growth of the band as it leads its way into Path to Immortality?
Definitely. I mean, last album we had probably the number one touring cycle, I should say our busiest touring cycle we've ever had. The first release, I mean, they're both independent, our first two releases. So it was definitely a jump to go to a label. But I think the success from the last album really helped push us to get to a label and hopefully more regularly touring, and with more national acts. We did a lot of independent touring, West Coast style tours, near us in California up through the West Coast. And with that release, we were able to, the last one, Born from the Dark, we were able to get on some pretty significant tours. I mean, we got to tour with Vader and Internal Bleeding. We did a tour with Internal Bleeding in Europe, and then Hate and Vader in Japan. So I think this is only going to push us further. I mean, we feel it's our strongest material yet. So we're stoked to get it out, but hopefully we can get on the stage soon.
Winning Wacken Metal Battle 2018, how important is that for the band, and then how important was that for this record to sound the way it does?
That was, I mean, that experience as a whole was just unreal, man. We joined the battle. We'd never done a battle of the bands. It's something we just didn't, not we were too big for it or anything, but it just never, piqued our interest. So we saw that we had the opportunity to play Wacken, and we said, let's try this. Let's give this a shot. And it almost felt like a pipe dream. Like, you sign up for something, it doesn't really happen. But these organizers, did a great job. I know John Asher and Eric Dow, they work really hard to make it happen. And, all the local promoters do a really good job to make it happen and get us over there. So we battled through it. A lot of good bands, tons of good bands that are going to have a great futures. And we feel that it gave us the confidence to really continue to push forward. And we weren't going to stop regardless. We're always going to make the music that we want. But I think it gave us the confidence to say, hey, we could play this big stage. And the response we got at backing was phenomenal, man. I mean, they just love to party and listen to metal anyways. So it's kind of hard to upset them.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to
But
shit the bed once you get there.
oh yeah, I mean, if you mess that up, you're in trouble. But dude, I mean, just being part of the organization of a big festival like that, and being in the artist village, and on top of those tours that I talked about with Vader, I mean, just having a lot more tour badges, it kind of makes it makes it surreal. We're on the right path, and we're so excited, man. We feel that the train's rolling. You know what I mean?
Once you were there, did you have to pinch yourself at any point in time that you were there? Because I'm sure it's for every band, it's like a dream to play that festival. So was it a little bit of surreal, like living the dream?
Yeah. Almost daily, I had to kind of like look around. I mean, me and my brother, who's actually the lead player and the main songwriter we went in 2010, and we used to watch videos in the late 90s, early 2000s, just performances from bands. And I remember watching, I think, Dimmy Borgir perform one year, and I was like, holy crap, look at this crowd. And it's you don't think it's real, I mean, and then you go. And I remember the first time I went in 2010, I was crowd surfing to Alice Cooper, and it was day one, the Night of Legends, they called it. I don't think they do that anymore. And I crowd surfed all the way from the back, all the way to the front. It was like, I'm not kidding, like 10 minutes of crowd surfing. Now, like, a song stopped and started in between the crowd surfing. And so I said, we said to each other, we're going to play this one day. We never thought it would be that way, as far as battling through a competition to get there. But we were just amazed on the opportunity, and it was unreal. The crowd response, and man, you're a metalhead. You go to shows, obviously you're publicize everything, which is awesome, and the community is so tight, dude. So it was just an unreal experience to be able to perform for all those people.
Going back into Path to Immortality, how is the process for you guys, the creative process behind putting this record together? Now you have more experience, not only more experience from coming from the two previous records, but more experience with touring, playing bigger festivals, bigger shows. How did you guys decide to approach this record from a creative standpoint?
I think we're fortunate to have all the members of the band still together. After the first record into the second record, we had three major band member changes. So we recruited a new rhythm guitar player, a bass player, and a drummer. So half the time we were spending were learning the songs, getting to know each other's styles, and getting to know each other and writing styles and stuff. So I think it really benefited on this record to have everyone together. So we kind of follow the similar style. So we have, Tom writes the songs and kind of puts most of it together, sends it out to the guys, and we kind of fill it in. So the rhythm guitar player will write some of the sections that either need to be adjusted, or bass player writes some of his parts, and drums obviously we use electronic drums to send it out, and then he writes the drum parts from there, and then myself the vocals. So we get the main melody, build it out around it. I think just having the band together as a whole and writing together just made the song stronger and more cohesive. And a big part of our writing process is being able to play it live, every single part, every song, without having to change anything live. So we always take that into account. So we do a lot of rehearsal. Like, we rehearse the songs as if we're playing them live before we even go to pre-production for the record. And then we did a lot more pre-production on this one, man. First two albums, they were almost felt half written in the studio. We got there, and the engineer was like, well, this isn't right. The timing's off, and our tempo maps were wrong. So it was a lot of work on the back end to get those ready. And this one, going in with Logan Mader, somebody who's got a ton of experience, we had to be more prepared. So we did full pre-production, everything, tempo maps 100%, and we did everything ourselves, and then sent it to him and had it ready. So just preparation, man, was number one.
How was it working with someone as famous as and as established as he is?
It was important to us. We wanted we had great engineers, the first two, and producers. But we wanted somebody who really had that tons of experience. So his expectations were top notch. Every guitar stroke, the action on the guitar had to be perfect. The vocal timing. A lot of people don't know this, but we recorded everything except drums in 7 days. So we just hammered it out, man. Which even he, we told Logan our schedule, and he kind of on the phone, he was like, I don't know, man.
Seems like you were pushing it.
Yeah, and big time, but we got it done. We went out to he lives near Vegas area, so we did about hours a day, and we just hammered it out. His expectation for perfection was top notch, so it kept us on our toes. And luckily, we had rehearsed the hell out of these songs and doing pre-production ourselves. And drums we did in 2 days in Undercity with Logan, and he's a magician, man. Anyone that's worked with him could say the same thing. The way he works and the way he runs his machines is top notch. So it was an experience that we needed and we wanted, and we hope to work with him again, because I mean, the records he makes and what he did with our record is just a phenomenal work, man.
Do you feel like, coming from 2 albums that you guys released independently to now having the support of a label, did that change things for you? Did that give you that freedom to try different things, to work with better people around you, surround yourself with better tools? Let's put it that way.
I think so. Yeah, it's a good way to put it. Because when you do it independent, you're kind of guessing along the way. You're not sure, as far as PR, how are you going to get. How are people going to know about it? You do a release, and you can only really post it on Facebook, and obviously there's limited reach there. And you kind of take for granted all the work that is done behind the scenes. So when we did join M3 Audio, and Marco, who's amazing, has a ton of experience as well. I felt like kind of make that jump, and it did a little weight off our shoulders. Especially distribution, man. I mean, we used to go to record stores and drop them off and ship them out, and it's a lot of work to do on your own. And to have a label support and their promotion and their worldwide distribution was huge. To get it in other countries, I mean, melodic death metal, it's tough in America, especially Southern California.
You guys pick a tough genre, considering the country that you live in. You know what I mean? If you guys were playing metalcore or something along those lines, would be a different, hardcore maybe would be a different story. But melodic death metal coming from the US is slim pickings.
It's been tough, man. Like, I mean, Los Angeles, dude, it's like the thrash capital, It's like, dude, getting shows when we were starting, we had to be a little edgier, and I think that kind of helped grow us on our own and grow our fan base. But yeah, it's not easy. I mean, we got a lot of reviews out of Europe, and reviews we can't even read. We have to use translators, and but the Scandinavian is kind of what drew us. For me, that's what I really was my influences. So that's kind of where that influence and that style kind of came from. It's good to have a label support, and we're stoked, man. We think things are on the right path. Obviously, there's with COVID and the pandemic, we're gave us some more challenges, but we'll battle through it.
How do you prepare vocally for a record, for the recording of an album? Is there anything you do specifically, or now, considering you went into your 3rd record, you kind of have already an idea of what you need to do?
It's just a lot of preparation, as far as keeping the voice strong. We learned a lot from that Vader tour we did. We did 36 days straight. We had a couple shows before and after the main tour, just to make some money to get out and money on the way back. So vocal health was pretty good. Just make sure to take care of the voice. but preparation on timing was the big one, and that's when the pre-production came into play, and we knew the parts, how to hit them, how, you know, the timing, when to start the vocals, and it made it much stronger on the record. There's a couple empty parts that Logan actually helped us with, which was really cool too, having his experience. But vocally, I think it was just important to you know, make sure that the timing was on point, that the voice was healthy, and that, you know, I got enough sleep, drank enough water, not too much whiskey.
No smoking.
No smoking. You know, it's I think just health and routine and pre-production was number one, man.
I have to ask you about two specific songs on the record. Not that I'm not trying to single these out. I'm not saying that these are the greatest songs on the record, because I feel the record is really consistent top to bottom. It's really a cohesive album all the way through. There's not like a weak song that you feel like you need to skip because it doesn't match the vibe that you're getting from the rest of the tracks. The album is really leveled at a high end, very leveled all the way through. But these two songs, I really have to pick your brain about them, because I felt like they changed a little bit of the dynamic. They gave me, at least as a listener, something different. And the first one is Into the Ether, an instrumental track at that spot of the record. It's not necessarily very common, like, to have a song that has that kind of dynamic. I loved it. I loved it the way it sounded. I loved it the way it connected the record. It felt like a really long interlude, but it worked really well in the mix of the album. How do you look at that song?
You know, it was something we talked about a lot. You know, we never done an instrumental on the record, and you know, me and my brother were big fans of you know, instrumental musicians. You know, Joe Satriani and Steve Vai, stuff like that. So we kind of wanted something to let the album breathe a little bit. The timing of it, you know, it's funny you mentioned that too. We weren't sure where to put that. You know, we almost we almost wanted to use that as the intro, but then it felt it was too long for an intro.
Yeah, I'm just going to say the same thing. It's too long to be the intro.
It's almost too long for an intro, and it's almost too short for an instrumental. So it was kind of.
I felt exactly the same way when I was listening to it. But having said that, you guys did pick the right spot for it, because if you put that as the intro, it's not going to work. You definitely cannot put it as the outro, and you definitely cannot put it too early on into the record, because then it feels like an intro that got lost into the third or fourth spot of the album. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, we were so confused on it too, and I think Whispers being one of the most, I mean, it's the most dynamic track we've written as a band.
That was going to be my second favorite song that I was going to ask you about, because I felt like that was the most dynamic track on the whole album.
We've never done anything like it, and I mean, we kind of did a little bit with Reach Toward the Sky, has a couple of those, you know, acoustic breaks and tempo changes, but this one was, I mean, it's a roller coaster ride. So we kind of thought if we put Into the Aether before it, it's going to really enhance that song. It's really going to make that bridge into the song more dynamic, more stronger, more, it's going to make it punch harder. So, and then there's that electronic piece that Logan added that, you know, he's like, you know, we obviously won his professionalism, his experience. He's like, well, I added this, it seemed a little dry. And at first we're like, I don't know. We never had electronic pieces in our music, but it turned out really good, man. It kind of, it did open up the song, so it wasn't so quiet in that part. But those two songs together, I feel blend very well. And Whispers actually it's the only song that Tom wrote lyrics to on that album. So you kind of asked about vocals earlier, and that was the hardest one for me to perform because I didn't write the thing. You know, for me to know the timing of it and what his expectations of it were, it took me a while to get that down. But I mean, that song is you know, not only as us writing it and playing it, but as a fan, I think it's a lot of fun to listen to.
That's the reason I picked those two songs. It's because the interconnection between them is undeniable. You almost can't have one without the other, because one redefines how the other one sounds like, at least for your ears, because it resets your ears. It gives you a different eyesight. Like it's really interesting. So when I was listening to the album, I had exactly the same thoughts that you were saying. It's like, okay, you cannot put this track at the opening, you can't put it at the end. Where the hell are you going to put it? But then as I'm listening to the album, and as I'm listening to multiple times through the record, I'm like, wow, they actually found the right place with the right combination of songs, like the one that came before and the one that comes after. It ties in perfectly. So congratulations for you guys to be able to pull that off. Because if I was putting this record together and you give me the tracks like one by one and say, okay, you put the track list together, I don't know if I'm going to pull that off. It's not easy.
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, we were juggling that one for a minute. You know what's kind of say a bummer, but on the vinyl, the way that the vinyls are pressed, I mean, you have to have a certain minutes on each side. So we actually had to switch the order for the vinyl, so which you're not going to get the same experience, but it's a little different. It gives you a different perspective. But those two together, I mean, we almost thought, like, what do we do with this damn thing? Do we scrap it for another record? I mean, like, or do we change it? It was already recorded though. But yeah, thank you, man. I'm glad you appreciate it, because we were struggling with that one, man.
Yeah, I know those songs to me, like they really they make each other stand out of the crowd, and it really works really well. It adds something to the record, and then in my opinion, it's really important. Was there a song that you felt very close, besides perhaps this one, but that you felt very close of not making it into the record, that gave you a little bit of a difficult time nailing the vocals, perhaps, or getting the right tempos going?
You know, I think the rest of them are pretty standard. I mean, obviously the cover we were questioning a lot to put on the record. But Suffering Silence, I think for me was kind of one of the tougher ones that we weren't sure about. But the song is so strong, and it has so many good. It's so guitar driven. It's a lot of fun to listen to. It's actually Steve his first song that he wrote for the record. So. Which I'm excited to talk about that too, is that, you know, he's going to have more input now that we have this cohesiveness, that we're working together, you know, from one album to the next, that we're going to have more input from the other members. So you're going to see a little change, you know, as far as not major changes of the sound, but some of the songwriting. But Suffering Silence was a tough one for me to get going. But Whispers, man, I'm telling you, man, that he writes these songs, and he doesn't give a shit about me. He's like, you know, just you don't need to breathe. He just sings. I'm like, you know, Tom, I know you're a guitar player. Yeah, just go for it, you know. It's funny because you look at the lyric sheet, this song's like the whole page, you know. I'm like, Tom, look what you're doing to me, man. But it is a lot of fun, you know. I think we're catching our stride. It was worth it, man. I think live it's a lot harder to sing, but dude, having these difficulties make us stronger. So and make us better songwriters, better performers, and better musicians. So I think they're overall, that was Whispers was the toughest, but the rest, I mean, it was just a lot of fun to record those, you know.
I have one more question for you, and that perhaps is a difficult question to answer, because I think we're living difficult times, and we really don't know what the future is going to bring. But where do you see the band in the next 5 years? Do you guys have like a roadmap, or do you have a personal goal that you want to achieve within the next 5 years?
100%. You know, we've jumped a lot in the past decade or so, and, you know, coming from a garage band is, you know, guys who like to party together and listen to metal, to establishing ourselves as, you know, recording musicians. So I think the next couple of years we want to hit a couple good touring cycles. We want to go back to Europe and do a full US tour again. We need to go through Canada. I want to go back to Japan. So I think tour cycle for this one heavier once those things open up. We don't want to wait 5 years for the next record, so we really want to release something in 2022, hopefully. And get more music out there, more dynamic, and get touring. So we really want to get on to more national tours. That's our number one goal, with big national acts that, you know, kind of established, help grow our fan base, and record another record shorter than 5 years. It seemed to be a benchmark that we didn't want to hit, but we we want to speed that up. So, but we don't want to force it either. We don't want to change our style. Something we've always took pride in was being fans of the music we write, not just writing it to write it. So, biggest roadmap, another record. Next 2-3 years max. And get on the touring cycle, hit some countries we haven't hit, and expand our fan base. For melodic death metal, I think it's, I think right now in the past 5 years, it's getting a bigger gathering. It seems like metal does this wave, right? Where
yeah.
Genres are big at one time, and then they kind of mellow out, and then they get big. I mean, look at thrash. Thrash had this big in, what was it, 2010? It was like had this huge growth. It's like, whoa, everyone's listening to 80s thrash again. And then I feel melodic death metal is kind of it's where it's up high right now. Big bands are getting a lot of recognition. So joining those caliber bands and growing.
Maybe you can get on a tour with Wolfheart and come to Toronto.
Yes. We're on board. Me and Tom are big fans of Wolfheart, so that would be awesome, man.
Thomas is a very close friend of mine, so I'll put in a good word for you guys.
Hey, we'd love it, man. We played one show with him in Los Angeles, and we had a good time talking with him. So yeah, put in a word. That'd be awesome, man.
Yeah, he's a great guy. He's a really solid dude. I think if you buy him a lot of ice cream, he'll definitely get you guys on the next tour because he loves ice cream.
That's good to know. That's good to know.
Yeah, he'll be your friend for life. If you show up at a show with a box of ice cream, he'll be your friend for life.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
All right, man. Dave, thanks a lot for your time today. I really appreciate it. Best of luck with the album out. Hopefully these things clear up soon and you guys can start hitting the road and promoting the record and playing some shows. And if I'm lucky enough, I'll get to see you guys in Toronto when you visit Canada the next time around.
Hey, thank you, brother. Thanks for the call. Hey, I wanted to you did a video review for us a couple days ago. It's funny. Yeah. You mentioned in there that we should have a shirt.
Listen. Before you say anything, somebody linked the shop on one of the comments, and he's like, "Dude, that shirt already exists." And and I was like, "Okay, I have to buy one now because now I'm pot committed." You know what I mean? Like, now I have to buy one. I had no clue the shirt was already in existence. But that just tells you that great minds think alike.
Yeah, you nailed it. I was like, this guy needs to be a marketing director too. Shit. Or make some merchandise. You nailed it on that one. That's awesome, man.
Come on, that line is perfect. If you have that line in a song and you don't make a shirt out of it, like what the hell is wrong with you? Like you know what I mean? That shirt sells itself. You don't need to do any marketing whatsoever. It just sells itself. So yeah, great minds think alike. That's all I can say.
Yeah. Oh yeah, man. I really appreciate it. Hey, thanks for what you do, man, and everything with the interviews and reviewing. It's awesome, brother. It's really kick ass, man.
All right. Thanks, man. I really appreciate it. Thank you for taking the time today, and stay safe and stay healthy.
Okay. You too, man. Take care.